Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to talk the end of college basketball of February. March is just around the corner. Welcome in, guys. It's Brad with College SportsCast. It's game day pick'em. This is season 4. This is week 27. And John, we are at the end of February, man.
Pretty wild to think about.
So Sunday is March 1st. Isn't that crazy?
Yep. This is the time of year where you want to be playing your best basketball. And there's a lot of teams that are kind of falling off the map. There's bubble teams trying to get position. This is really what you live for, Brad.
It's a fun time of year, that's for sure. Before we get started here, though, tonight, let me get a couple of things out here real quick. If we always start the show with some of this stuff, so give me just a second here. Let me scroll up on this. All right, guys. Going to start with our Facebook, man. Got some big news. Night before last, we crossed over 8,000 followers on our Facebook page. So thank you to everyone. We're super excited about that. It's been almost in August. It'll be 4 years in the making. So 3.5 years in the making, something like that. Crossed over 8,000 this week. Please hit that subscribe, man. It's only 99 cents a month. We try to give you some info whenever we can get it inside of a chat. We have a chat for you and a subscribers page. Again, it's only 99 cents a month. It does help us to continue to make these for you guys, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Also, in the last, week, we have crossed over 750. We're now at like 752, 753 on YouTube. We're getting closer and closer on YouTube as well and trying to build that just as much. We appreciate you on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe, comment, share for us as well. Remember, subscribing on Facebook is 99 cents a month. So just want to put that out there. All right, John, we are, like I said, man, it's unbelievable. We are at the end of February here, and the women's season, this is it. This is the last weekend of the regular season on the women's side. And there's this weekend and next week on the men's, and the regular season's over.
Yeah, and you'll be at the SEC tournament for the women.
Yep.
I clipped one off the bucket list. I was talking about it today. We got approved to go to the Florida game for Senior Day, cover Senior Day. I've always wanted to cover Senior Day, and that's a big bucket list of mine, and I've knocked that one off. So, Kentucky, Florida, that's the Senior Day.
It's a fun time of year, John, that's for sure. We appreciate everyone that has helped us along the way. So
appreciate the University of Kentucky, Deb Moore, Evan Crane, all the way from top to bottom, Susan Legs, Cammy, basketball, women's side. Just thank you very much, and it's an honor.
All right. One last thing before we get going here at the top left corner of the screen here is a QR code. This QR code for our game day pick'ems is our Bet Us link. This is with the Real Fresh channel, and we appreciate Howie Fresh. We are on the Real Fresh channel as well tonight.
Oh, and I also want to say my cousin is still doing the the awareness for those in need, less fortunate. They're still doing, regular items, necessities, like razors, food, juice boxes for kids, things of that nature, probably clothes. It's a really good thing, and I think a lot of it starts in March. I think it's coming up. So for those that want to reach out to her, her name is Timberly Frederick. I had mentioned to her the other night that I would like to get her on the show sometime and kind of talk about her basketball career, and then kind of go into what she wants to do with this, because I feel like, give her a little pub, because what she's doing is a really good thing.
Yeah, for sure. So our Bet Us link with the Real Fresh channel, I just want to finish this up real quick. So if you scan that QR code at the top left corner of the screen, I am going to leave that up while we are talking tonight. If you scan that code, you get 325% deposit matches with our Bet Us link. And we appreciate the Real Fresh channel here. And he is on our channel on Tuesday nights with Pro Sports, and then we're live on his channel on YouTube. The Real
and district tournament starting. Actually, it's ending this week. Regions will be next week for high school, for those that enjoy high school ball, and then the state tournament will be, I think, the following week. I think the girls play first, and I think then the boys, if I'm not mistaken. But great time of year, Brad. It's, to me, March. Listen, the thing about March to me, and I just want to kind of drag into this to our show, it's all about fun, upsets. You got the underdog team gets cheered for when the upper dog favorite is behind. Like, it's just so emotional. You had the I know we don't want to bring it up, but you had the St. Peter's loss. Everybody cheered for St. Peter's when Kentucky lost. The Oakland, you had, what was it, Virginia a couple years ago with UMBC. Furman a couple years ago. Stan Van Gundy almost lost his mind in that game as the announcer. So you see a lot of stuff in March Madness, and I'm just ready for another banger of a March Madness coming up, Brad. It's going to be fun, especially on the women's side as well.
All right, John, we're going to get into a little bit of bracketology talk here tonight. Going to change it up a little bit this week. I have went on and kind of added some teams. I looked at Joe Lenardi's. I looked at the Field of 68s. I looked at a couple of 2 or 3 different ones, and I've come up with a list here for us to talk about tonight, John. The last 4 buys for a lot of these bracketologists right now, these are the next to last 4 out list, the last 4 buys. John, I just want to kind of run through these teams. If you know who they're playing, blah, 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 what they might need to do within the next week and that kind of stuff, and just kind of run through some of these teams tonight. This is on the men's side only tonight on this, but the last 4 buys right now are UCLA, Georgia, Texas, and Texas A&M. These are teams that a slip up or two, and you could be bounced out more than likely.
Yeah, I like Georgia here and Texas out of this group here. I still feel UCLA needs to do a little bit. I still think maybe they'll be in too. Now, Texas A&M is a funny case. They're 19. They're 19-9. They're 9-6 in conference.
But I think they started 5-1 in conference, didn't they, John?
Yeah, and then they lost 4 in a row. They lost to Alabama in a tight game. They went on the road to Florida and got dominated, which is Florida's playing at an elite level right now. They lost to Missouri at home. They lost at Vanderbilt. Now, they did come back. They beat Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Then they lost to Arkansas the other night. I think the Texas game is important. Saturday, tomorrow.
Yeah, I think these two teams play each other, right? Texas and Texas A&M.
Kentucky is important. That's a Tuesday night. And then they got LSU, which should be a winnable game. I mean, Brad, you look at their metrics and you look at the wins that they've got. They beat Auburn. They beat an Oklahoma team that's been kind of up and down. They beat Texas. They beat Georgia. But other than that,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
and UCLA has kind of. I mean, I don't know, John. I mean, they're close. I mean, I think they're they might get in, but I think their record's like 19-9 or something like that right now. Yeah. So it's likely that they do out of the Big Ten with that. But this is just a group of teams that I had come up.
They did beat Illinois, which helped their case,
helped
their resume. Now they play Minnesota coming up. They play Nebraska at home, which will be a big quad one game. Then they play USC, which will probably be a quad one, quad two, possibly. They beat Illinois. They beat USC at home. I'm trying to see. They beat Purdue, which is a big win for them. I'm trying to see who else I was looking through their schedule. They're
likely in unless they have just some huge slip ups here.
Yeah, unless they're having a slip up, I just don't think UCLA is going to be left out. I think this UCLA team is going to get in, but I will say they might get into Dayton. It depends on what other teams do. Now, if they're in the last four byes, I think they get in pretty comfortably. But if other teams kind of fall, other teams kind of drop out, and like I said, the two that I feel most comfortable with in this group of teams is Georgia and Texas. Texas got some good wins, and Georgia's got some really good wins. I think the win at Lexington by Georgia, a week ago, I think that pretty much put them in the tournament.
I kind of agree with that. All right. The next one we're going to get to is the last four in. This one kind of surprised me with Missouri being in this bunch, but Missouri, TCU, Santa Clara, and New Mexico, John, were some of the last four teams in on about three different bracketologists that I looked. I mean, I kind of played around with it a little bit. This isn't exactly, but these are the ones I listed as my last four in. Missouri, TCU, Santa Clara, and New Mexico. These teams are right on the bubble, basically.
Yeah, I like Santa Clara. I think in Bart Torvik, they're 32th ranked team. I'll be honest with you. I don't like New Mexico. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm looking over their schedule. I mean, they beat Mississippi State. They did beat Santa Clara, which is big, the head-to-head.
Yeah.
They beat Grand Canyon, which Grand Canyon's having a really good year. They lost to San Diego State. They lost to Utah State, which is the top team in that league.
Yeah, in that league, yeah.
I just don't see them getting in. I don't see New Mexico getting in. Now TCU's had some nice wins. I know they beat Iowa State. What was a few weeks ago.
But Missouri on this list,
Missouri's got some really good wins.
They got some really good wins.
Missouri's beat Kentucky on the road. They beat Tennessee the other night. They hung tough with Arkansas. This Missouri team's really, really good. This Missouri team could be a team that you get them in there, they can play, and their guard plays really good. They got the big kid in the middle. I'm trying to think of his name. Didn't he transfer from Duke? a couple years ago. The
Mitchell,
Duke transfer, Mark Mitchell.
Mark Mitchell, yeah.
He's really good. This Missouri team can get after you. They play
We got
defense. They can
T.O.
score.
Barrett. T.O. Barrett's really good too, man.
T.O. Barrett's really good. So this is a fun team if they could get into the tournament. Which
Santa Clara would be a third team most likely out of the West.
Yeah, Santa Clara is a fun team to watch. If you've not watched West Coast basketball, tune into Santa Clara. They're a fun.
I'm not sure what position is New Mexico in the Mountain West. I know Utah State's leading it.
I'm not even sure, Brad. I know they're 12. I know they're 12-5 in conference, so they're probably up in the upper echelon of
I think they're like third, I believe, if I remember right.
They are. There's Utah State. There's San Diego State in the middle there. San Diego State's another team that they're probably going to have. I wouldn't say they're probably going to have to win their conference tournament.
Yeah, they're on another list here that I got down here in a second, but I think Missouri is. Honestly, John, I would be shocked if Missouri's not in.
Yeah, I told somebody today if Missouri's left out, they ought to just disband the whole. Tournament.
I just can't see Missouri now. Santa Clara, New Mexico, could they be left out here? Maybe. I feel like Santa Clara is probably in, but we'll see.
Yeah.
The next one's for me, John, here. Another list that I got. This is the first 4 out lists. John, I got USC, Virginia Commonwealth, California, and Auburn. And
USC's took a tumble. They started out really great, and they kind of took a tumble in conference play a little bit.
They have a big game this weekend, though.
VCU's another one. California. Auburn, they are a complex of.
They got a few good wins, but
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think any team that is 6-9 in conference should go to the NCAA tournament.
I kind of agree with that.
Listen, Brad, I'm looking at their wins, okay? They beat St. John's, which is a really good win. St. John's is up in the Big East, and they're up in the middle, the top. They beat a good NC State team. That's 2 good wins, okay?
Yeah.
Let's see. They beat Arkansas, and that was it. That was at home.
Yeah.
They beat Kentucky at home. They beat Florida on the road, which is going to sit well on Selection Sunday.
And that's why they got some really big wins, but they're setting 16 and 14?
Yeah. No, 15 and 13.
15 and 13. Okay.
I think what might keep them out is that 5-game losing streak. Because, they beat Kentucky on a game Kentucky kind of gave away. Then they come back the next week and they got blown out by Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's not great. They're good. I feel like they got one player, Nigel Pack. And when he goes off, he goes off. But other than that, I just think they got a big one Saturday. It's a home game. It's Ole Miss. They play LSU at home. Then they go on the road and they finish the year out with Alabama. I think you got to win these 2, Brad. You drop one of these 2 games with LSU and Ole Miss.
Yeah, because they're on the bottom. LSU and Ole Miss is on the bottom.
It's not great, Bob.
So let's talk about California for a minute. This is a team that has kind of been up and down, but they've had a couple of good wins. They beat North Carolina earlier in the season. That's a really good win for them.
20-8. They're 8-7 in conference. They're really good, Brad. John Camden is really good for them. They got Justin Pippen. He's a really good player. Chris Bell. Lee Dort is a senior, 6'10" in the middle. This is a really good, fun basketball team. And if they get in, I think they can win a game. I'm not saying they can go out and make the Sweet 16, but I think if they have the right matchup, I think California could win a game in the tournament.
I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one of these teams in Dayton.
Yeah, maybe Auburn, maybe USC. USC is kind of hurt themselves down the stretch.
Maybe two of these teams are in Dayton, to be honest.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I definitely. USC's got a big game this weekend, and a big opportunity to win a big game to maybe get off of this list. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to put those out there. And then the next four out, I got San Diego State, Cincinnati, Virginia Tech, and Seton Hall, John. These are some teams that really need to make up some ground. If they
do. I think Seton Hall's won. Virginia Tech's won. Now, Cincinnati went on that little win streak there. They kind of got off the bubble there for a minute, and then they kind of got back on. They got beat last Saturday. Trying to remember who it was that Cincinnati lost to. I think it was Texas Tech.
What's up, Shane?
Had they won that game, I think they would have been possibly in. Now you got Oklahoma State. You got BYU at home, 2 home games. And then you got a road game at TCU, which TCU is another bubble team that is trying to fight their way in. So Cincinnati sits at 15-13. It's sort of like Auburn, 7-8 in conference. They're kind of the same, kind of the same resume basically. And Cincinnati's got some work to do. Yep. Just like Auburn does.
Seton Hall is actually like 19-9, but they're playing.
Seton Hall started out pretty fast.
Yeah,
they started undefeated, and they kind of just fell off a cliff when conference play hit.
And the conference is not nearly as great as it was the last couple of years.
And their schedule is not good at the end of the. You got to mix in with Xavier. But you go on the road to UConn Saturday, and then you play St. John's. You got to win one of those. If
you can win one of those, you might get in.
But you can't lose to Xavier. Xavier's not a great team this year.
Well, I meant the UConn. I meant the UConn or St. John's game.
The Xavier game's on the road, which Xavier at home is pretty tough to play anyway. So.
And San Diego State, they've been right at the top the last 4 or 5 years, and to see them here as one of the next 4 out is a little alarming for that program.
Yeah, probably. San Diego State needs to figure some wins out here. They're 13-4 in conference. They got a good conference record. I mean, they got a big one Saturday. They play New Mexico at the Pit. That's a big game, and then they play Boise State on the road. And then they play home to UNLV, which in the last 2, they're favored to win. So hopefully, they can figure things out. And I want to tell you something. A lot of people don't know Brian Dutcher is a heck of a basketball coach for San Diego State. He's built a really good program there.
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty good for a while, it seems like now. So, all right. That's our bracketology talk for tonight. We're going to wrap that up with that. John, we're going to go ahead and kind of dig into the weekend's games here. Mm-hmm. And we're going to start out with a big game in the ACC. We got Virginia at Duke. Most people don't give Virginia the credit they deserve. I think they're 25-3 or something this year, John.
I'm telling you, man, Ryan Odom,
Cameron, but I mean,
Ryan Odom has had a really good year. They've been really strong. They've got De Ritter, the Belgian big man. The only thing that has stopped Virginia is some of their wins. They've gotten hot though. They've won 9 straight. They lost to North Carolina. I know they lost that game. Duke on the road is going to be tough. Duke is playing at an elite level, Brad. They got – everybody knows Cameron Boozer. He's been outstanding. They have the 6th best in the nation. He leads the team in points, 22.7 a game. Duke is getting a lot of great minutes from Isaiah Evans and Nagba. They got an elite defense. They're 26-2. They won against Michigan last week. Duke is playing at a really high level. And like I said, I this is a big spread to me.
Yeah,
Even
10.5 seems like a large spread.
I'm going to take Virginia to cover this game, but I still feel Duke wins this game. I think Virginia plays tough towards the end, but I think Duke kind of pulls it out in the end.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this one too. When I see 10.5, I know this is at Cameron Indoor, but man, this Virginia team has been tough all year long.
The Ritter in the middle might be one of the better big men in the country.
Yeah, and Odom has done a fantastic job in year one. I think they're going to be able to hang in this game. I'm going to take Virginia and the points. Give me the 10.5 here. I do think Duke probably wins this game, though, more than likely.
Yeah, I think Duke ultimately wins this. I think Boozer is just too much. But
give me Duke. Give me Duke by 5. Give me Duke by 5 and Duke by 6, something like that.
Yep,
that's what I say. All right. We're going to stay in the ACC here, John. We've got Louisville at Clemson. Clemson had started off excellent. They kind of have fallen on a little bit of harder times the last 2 or 3 weeks. And Louisville is somehow a favorite at Clemson here. Clemson plays really good at home, man, most of the time.
They do. And when you look at Louisville, they've kind of been up and down. Michael Brown, he's special. He's going to be a lottery pick. Ryan Conwell, he's a senior. He's really, really good. They got Isaac McNeely. He's reliable at the three-point line. They beat Indiana. They beat Kentucky. They've been very, Brad, inconsistent the last few weeks. And
have they been very good away from home, though? Have they been very good away from home?
Not great.
I don't think they have.
I don't like Louisville in this spot. I think Clemson's a really good basketball team. Coach Brownell might be one of the most underrated coaches in college basketball. And when they're going at home, they're hard to beat. So I think I'm going to take Clemson here, Brad. I don't trust Louisville right now.
Yeah, I don't like them on the road. I couldn't believe they were actually favored in this game on the road. I don't feel like they played great on the road this year for the most part.
I'll say this though: when Michael Brown gets going and he gets in a groove, he can be absolutely fantastic.
But Clemson's got a rowdy place, man. It's kind of tough to play.
Little John Coliseum.
I'm going to take the Tigers in this one, I believe.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Clemson wins this game.
All right, we're going to go to the Big 12 for a couple of games here, John. I've got Kansas at Arizona, and this one looked like a kind of large spread to me, 8.5.
Yeah, Kansas has been off and on, okay? The whole Darren Peterson crap going on. You don't know what you're going to get from week to week. When he's on the court, they're probably one of the best teams in the country. They had 4 wins over ranked teams. Now they did lose to Iowa State. They lost to Cincinnati last weekend. Now they did beat Arizona, I think, when Arizona was number 1 in Houston. They can be dangerous, Brad. And then on the other side, you got an Arizona team that, man, when they're cooking offensively, they're good. Braden Burries, Koa Pete, they've got 8 wins, Brad, over top 25 teams. They beat UConn, they beat BYU twice. They got an offense that when they're motoring, they can score with anybody. They're I think 87, 88 points per game. Now they did lose, like I said, they lost to Kansas, they lost to Texas Tech, but they roared back. They beat Houston last week, and this is at the McHale Center, which is going to be a tough environment to play in, and you don't know what you're going to get with Darren Peterson in this game. But when he's playing, he can be as good as anybody as a freshman. But I'm going to take Arizona here. I like Arizona in this spot. I think they win. I think they actually cover the 8.5. Because Kansas on the road, to me, sometimes gets lackadaisical.
I mean, I do believe Arizona is actually one of my top 4 or 5 teams in the country. I think they are playing for a number 1 seed. Every time they step on the floor, not just here, but every time they step on the floor right now, I think they're playing for a number 1 seed. They were 23-0 or something like that. Before they lost this year, they have had an excellent season.
Braden Burry's is special, Brad. I watched him. I watched him in the Kansas game. They got 2 good freshmen, Pete.
And I just want to say this: Tommy Lloyd
is a good coach.
Might be one of the best damn coaches that is, especially out west, that nobody really thinks about.
Knows how to prepare, knows how to change defenses. He's a good X's and O's coach.
He's somebody last year that I might have mentioned for another job, John, if you remember that.
I remember that.
I'm just saying, like, Tommy Lloyd is a hell of a coach, man, for real.
He's a good coach. He's a very
good coach. I'm not saying, listen, everybody knows that Bill Self's a good coach as well. So, I mean, I'm not saying, but for a name that like not a lot of people would even mention, Tommy Lloyd is a name that people should know and mention. I'm gonna pick the Wildcats here at home. I don't really trust this Kansas team on the road. The spread worries me a little bit.
Little.
Could this be a 4, 5, 6 point game? It could. I think I will take Kansas and the points, but I think Arizona's winning this game.
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at.
All right. The next one, John, it's a shame that JT Toppin is not playing right now. I just want to start with that, man. Here at College SportsCast, I want to just say it's just a shame to lose such a great player late in February, right before March and March Madness. But Texas Tech has won a couple of pretty good games since they lost him. Anderson has been playing really well and leading this team. Texas Tech is at Iowa State. Iowa State is a 9.5 point favorite in Ames.
Iowa State is having a really good year. You got Joshua Jefferson. He's getting a lot of NBA draft stock. He leads the team in rebounds. I think he's assists. They are really good defensively. They're only giving up, I think, 64 points, 65 a night. Now, they do have some losses that are kind of mind-boggling. They lost to TCU. They lost to BYU. Now, they beat Kansas. They beat Houston. And to me, that's why they are where they are. And, Otzelberger might be one of the better coaches in the country. He was one that I was kind of wanting in Lexington when we was searching for a coach. He's kind of – everybody laughs, but he kind of reminds you of Mark Stoops. Have you seen what he looks like? He's a little Mark Stoops. He kind of favors Mark in a way.
Yeah.
But going back to Texas Tech, I mean, losing Toppin was tough. That's a tough loss for them. This Texas Tech team's still good, Brad. You just don't know what you're going to get without Toppin. Grant McCaslin is really good coach.
There's another coach that's been really good.
I just feel like they don't have a lot of hope without Toppin, Brad. I mean, you're basically trying to use one player, which is Christian Anderson.
You're trying to overcompensate with others. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm going to take Iowa State here. I like this game in Hilton. They're tough to beat in names. Go Cyclones.
Yeah, man. Iowa State has lost a couple of games, but man, they don't lose much in Ames. They don't lose much at home here, man. That's a tough place. Without
Like
Toppin, I think I'm going to take the
it's basically
Cyclones.
like in the primetime Golden State Warriors when you play in Hilton.
Yeah, I mean, if Toppin was there, I might take Texas Tech in this game, but
I'm with you.
I just think that the Cyclones are going to get it done at home here.
Yep.
All right, John, I'm going to go to the Big Ten. I did pick out this game for the Big Ten for us to talk about. Nebraska is at USC. I picked this one out because Nebraska has been one of the top teams in the Big Ten this year, and USC is a bubble team that we talked about earlier. So I just wanted to talk about this is at USC. This would be a huge win for them to maybe get off of that bubble that we were talking about if the Trojans could get this.
To me, this is Fred Hoiberg's best team he's had in Nebraska. They're 24-4. They're looking at a top seed. They got Rink Mast, the Dutch. He's a Dutch.
Yeah.
Overseas, he's really good. Averages, I think, 13, 14, and 9.
The Dutch even plays basketball. Who knew?
Price Sanford is really good. I think he averages like 17 and 9. They beat Illinois. They beat Michigan State. Now, they have kind of cooled the last few weeks. They split, I think, 6, maybe 7 or 8 games. I can't remember. This will be a tough game for Nebraska. USC's playing for a lot. They're playing for their bubble lives. I think, you get into a game of that magnitude and you see a team playing desperate, I think it can make a toll on you. But I'm going to stick with Nebraska on my gut here, Brad. I think this Nebraska team is not like your normal Nebraska teams, and I think they get it done on the road. I do.
Let me ask you about – there's a couple of names here from the SEC that I think some people will remember. So Musselman is the head coach at USC out here, and maybe you guys remember Chad Baker-Mazzaro.
Chad. Oh, Chad.
He is – I think he's averaging 20-plus points a game on this Trojan team, isn't he?
You put him on that Auburn team this year, they're probably better than what they are.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. I mean, so, there is some pieces out here for this Trojan team. Listen, Nebraska's played well. Listen, they're the favorite 4.5. I'm going to pick Nebraska in this game, but this is a big game out in Southern Cal for the Trojans and for them to get off of that bubble. All right, John, we're going to go to the SEC. I've got a few here down the stretch that we're going to talk about. There's some pretty big games in the SEC, and all these are going to have ramifications on how the SEC plays out here. Alabama is at Tennessee on Saturday. Tomorrow, Tennessee is a 4.5-point favorite in Knoxville.
Man, Nate Ament is having an unbelievable end of his year. He's second in team in points. You got Jacoby Gillespie. I feel like that's why they are in the spot that they are, those two. Tennessee, to me, early in the year, they was inconsistent. They fell out of the top 25. I feel like they played better the last few months. They went 8-2 in their last 10. They beat Alabama. They beat Vanderbilt. Now, they did lose to Missouri the other night, which was a tough loss. And then you got an Alabama team that is so up and down. That any night they can be a problem.
They can beat Florida if they play ball.
LeBaron Fallon, he's so good, Brad. So good. Now, their offense, they wasn't great in January. Now, they've gotten hot. They beat Arkansas the other night in overtime. They whipped Mississippi State. I mean, they burned the nets off the other night. That was –
They did. They did.
They they played hot pocket all night with that rim.
Yeah.
And Amari Allen, I don't know if y'all know him. He's a freshman for Alabama. He had a shot. I want y'all to go back and rewatch it. He had a shot from it looked like midcourt. He got fouled and it just flopped up and it went in. Like, it was the most craziest shot I've ever seen. And that's why Alabama is so dangerous.
It's like they almost couldn't miss the other night.
When Alabama is hot and when they're hitting shots, they can go to the Final Four, Brad.
They could, yeah. Yeah, they could.
One issue that they have?
Defense.
Well, that too. You know what their biggest kryptonite has been as of recent?
Bediako? I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there. I'm sorry.
Rick Barnes in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
They've been a thorn in the side. And I actually like Tennessee, and I actually like Alabama in this game, but Tennessee at home, it's tough to win in Knoxville, Brad.
It is. They don't lose too many.
Well, and especially with Nate Aments playing the way he's playing, I think I'm going to go Tennessee here, Brad, but I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama pulled this out either.
Well, this one's a tough one. It's a close game. It could absolutely go either way. If Alabama is shooting the way they did the other night, 2 or 3 nights ago, I think Tennessee might as well just mark it in the loss column right now.
To be fair, Tennessee is not a great 3-point shooting team,
but they do play good defense.
They do. And I think that's when I have a lot to say what happens in this game.
Yeah.
But give me the Vols in the 4.5. But like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama pulled this one out in Knoxville.
I think that's where I'm going to go to is Tennessee to cover this at home. They're really tough, and Tennessee seems to, like you said, they really kind of beat Alabama more times than not, especially in Knoxville. Mm-hmm. They've already beat them once this year, isn't that right? Didn't they beat Alabama?
They beat them in Tuscaloosa. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. I just don't believe they're going to be able to shoot like they did 2 games in a row the other night. So, all right, I'm going to go to the Big East here. This is a pretty big tilt in the Big East. There's another one that I want to mention right now. Seton Hall is at UConn. I almost put that game on here because it was a bubble team that we were talking about. I didn't do that, but Villanova at St. John's is a big rivalry here. In this one, and the Johnnies are coming off of a dud. I mean, absolute dud the other night, and they're a 5.5-point favorite at home, John.
Yeah, St. John's. They had a rough start to the season. They were very inconsistent. They lost to Kentucky in the Classic. They have improved their game past the new year. Zuby Ejiofor is really good. Bryce Hopkins has played really better. They won 13 straight, I think, at one point. They had a big win over UConn. Now they did get blown out against UConn, and Rick Pitino did not mince words the other night. He actually said, if quote me if I'm wrong, he said it was the worst loss he had seen since he had the Kentucky team that went to Kansas, and that was it not 88, 89?
89,
and they lost on the road. He said it was just total.
John, they scored 40 points the whole game.
Yeah, it was bad. Now, does that take away from what they've done? No, they're still a legit team. Now they're going up against a pretty good Villanova team that has, had a really good year. Acadian Lewis is playing probably as good as anybody. And that's a kid that Kentucky kind of slipped out of our hands. And he went. He was signed.
He was not only committed. He signed in the early signing period. He was signed.
Could have been a big piece for the Wildcats this season with all the issues and the injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go St. John's, Brad. They don't lose at home very often. And Patino is notorious for stuff like this. Losing like this, it does not sit well.
The last couple of days has probably not been fun in practice for St. John.
Probably been hell on earth for St. John.
It's probably not been after that performance the other night at UConn.
Probably hell on earth, to be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be one of them, to be quite honest with you, after that performance. I will say this: Villanova is a tournament team for sure. They are 100% getting in. They have turned a really good season. They turned in a really good season this year, and are turning things around. I'll be honest with you. I thought they were slipping quite a bit since Jay Wright left them, but this is the first year I can see some light at the end of the tunnel with this team.
I mean, you look at them; they look like Villanova basketball.
Yeah, but this is the first year in a while since Jay Wright left. I don't know what that 3 or 4 years ago, however long ago that was. But Villanova is playing well. This is going to be a tough game, but man, I got to think that Patino's going to get them boys ready to bounce back after that.
I think that's a given.
So give me the Johnnies in this one as well. All right, Arkansas is at Florida, and I thought this was a big spread. I know this is at the O-Dome, but 10.5 seems kind of high to me, John. What do you think?
Yeah, I love this Arkansas team. Malik Thomas is really good. Darius Acuff, the all-freshman backcourt. Darius Acuff, man, he's so good. Averaging, I think, 22 a night, 6 assists a night. And they played really good. They've had 4 ranked wins. They're very flawed at times, though, Brad. They lost to Kentucky. They lost to Alabama. And then you got a Florida team that could possibly repeat, Brad.
They're really clicking the last 10, 15 games.
The first couple months, you wouldn't have thought this was even the same team.
No, their guard play started off kind of slow. And here's the thing: Boogie Flan is playing against his former team, against Calipari. Boogie Flan was committed to Kentucky when Calipari left, and was committed to Calipari, Kentucky. He followed Calipari to Arkansas, and then went in the portal last year. And I think it had to do with money, to be quite honest with you. And he wound up as a Gator, and now he gets to face his former team here.
Yeah, and the stat that blows your mind is since early December, they're 17-2.
Yeah.
17-2.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do.
And this is through the SEC. This isn't like in the early part of the season when they're playing a bunch of nobodies.
And a lot of that has to do with Alex Condon, Thomas Houck. They've led that group. Now, listen, you can't say nothing about Ruben Chinyalu. He's been an X factor in this, 11 points a night, I think 11 rebounds a night. That guy in the paint is an absolute machine.
He's a walking double-double.
Every night.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to put it out there. If Florida keeps playing at the level that they're playing at, I wouldn't be shocked if a repeat happens.
I mean, I think they're going to be a tough out. I can tell you that.
And I'm going to go with Florida, Brad. Game day's there. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, the whole crew.
Yeah.
This is going to be big for Florida. And I think Arkansas, to me, Arkansas has not been great on the road. Now, they've had a couple of games where they play really well, like Alabama.
Is Knox still hurt?
I'm not sure of that. I do know. I think maybe he is. I feel like they're walking into a hornet's nest tomorrow night.
I think Knox is hurt. Now, Wagner's been back a game or two, or a couple, two or three.
Yeah, Wagner had some issues. He's had some
Yeah.
issues off and on.
He had some ankle issues, I think, but he's back playing now. Wagner is.
Give me Florida. Give me the Gators. Give me the Gator boys.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to have to go. I am worried about this spread. I think Arkansas actually, if I'm betting, I think Arkansas can hold this spread. And the interesting thing here, John,
I'll say this though, Brad.
Isn't this spread bigger than when Kentucky? What Kentucky spread, like 9 or 9.5?
Something of that. Here's my thing with Arkansas is if they're not hitting shots, they're threes, this could get ugly real fast.
Yeah.
And I say that because the front court of Florida might be the best in the country. And you know what Arkansas's biggest weakness is they don't have a great front court.
That's true. That is very true. This is a game that Florida is probably going to dominate the paint.
You want to watch a paint game? Watch this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All right, John, we're going to go out west. This is always a fun one to talk about. I always feel like usually when these two teams play, I throw this one in for us to talk about. This is one of my favorite West Coast games ever, to be honest with you. Gonzaga is at St. Mary's, and the Zags are a 1.5 point favorite on the road here. But, man, St. Mary's usually beats them here, to be honest with you.
They do. I like this Gonzaga team, Brad. You know, they're 28-2. Graham Ike is so good, Brad. When he's going,
is Huff back or is he not coming back?
I'm not sure on that one either. I do know that I think they're averaging 40 points and 15 a night. That was up until I guess he got injured. Now they did lose they had the bad loss to Michigan in early, November. They had 15 wins at one point. I think they had the ugly loss to Portland. They added 6 straight wins. They had they got mad and they took some revenge out on Portland and smashed them by 41. They didn't like that loss too good. So
no.
And I'm going to say this about St. Mary's. Randy Bennett is a very underrated coach.
Heck of a coach, to be honest.
He knows what
with not so much talent either, man. And he gets these guys to play way above their means, to be honest.
Yes, he does. And I'm going to say this. I like this St. Mary's team. I actually think they pull this one out. I'm going to go St. Mary's. Usually you get the whole Gonzaga win.
This is like a real gym, like high school gym. This place holds like 4,000 or something.
They get loud.
Yeah, it's like a high school gym.
Give me the Gales. I like the Gales here in this spot.
Yeah, this is going to be just a war. It always is here. It's always a fun one to watch. It's going to be an absolute battle, a war.
Usually it's a split. Usually you have St. Mary's win one, Gonzaga wins one, and then the other team wins.
And I think Gonzaga got the best of them on their home floor earlier this year. Yeah. So I think I am as well going to take the Gales here. St. Mary's usually gets them once. Mm-hmm. If they do win, it will be like a 2-3 point win, probably. At home, they might hit a shot to beat them or something like that. That has happened many times before.
Yep.
Yeah, that's happened many times before. All right, John, this is the game that we want to talk about here. John is going to this game. He's going to be getting up in the morning and headed to cover this game for us here at College SportsCast. So, John, Vanderbilt is at Kentucky, and I believe they're getting Darius Miles back. Is that right?
You mean Duke Miles?
I mean Duke Miles. I'm sorry.
We're getting Duke Miles back.
I didn't mean I don't know. My mind just went to Darius. I don't know. Duke
This
Miles.
this backcourt of Tyler Tanner and Duke Miles is really good. You know, I think they're averaging, is it 80? Might be 87. I can't remember. To me, it's why they are where they are. You know, they're 22-6. They've lacked a big win. Now they did get one against Alabama. They've not been able to build off that though, Brad. You know, they lost to Oklahoma. You know, they lost to Tennessee at home. This game is tricky. And I say that because you don't know which Kentucky team you're going to get. You don't know which Owe you're going to get. You don't know which Colin Chandler you're going to get. You know, the guards have to play big in this game, in my opinion, if Kentucky wants to win this game. Vandy's not big in size. They're just not.
They can't be getting out. They can't be getting out rebounded.
But you know what Vandy does that Kentucky sometimes don't do is they hustle, loose balls.
Yeah.
The 50-50 stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this game's going to be won.
Are you surprised Vandy is a 1.5 favorite at Rupp?
Not really. I'm not. I mean, especially
if you're a Kentucky player and you see this spread, that ought to kind of motivate you because there's no way that Vandy should be favored against Kentucky at Rupp.
Actually, Kentucky's favored.
Well, what I saw said 1.5 by Vandy. Is it Kentucky?
It's Kentucky, yeah.
Okay.
According to DraftKings.
All right. I mean, I when I looked at it earlier, I could have swore I seen 1.5 Vandy, but
yeah, it's 1.5 Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that seems right.
That kind of yeah, it's 1.5 Kentucky, and I think the reason for that, it's at Rupp. There'll be a big crowd. They're doing a blue-white out, I guess you would call it. And I want to say this, and I know I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Let the kids have fun.
I mean, that's what the programs are all about.
If they want to do a whiteout, if they want to do a blue out, maybe it was the players.
If they want to do a blowout, I mean, honestly, like
this ain't the 70s, Brad.
Yeah, I mean,
and you have people on certain comments saying we don't need any gimmicks. Well,
Adolph Rupp is not around anymore. Like, we don't have to do that.
Let's see here. North Carolina had this. Houston's done it.
They all do it.
BYU's done
Kansas does it. I mean, they all do it.
If they win, who cares? But then you have that one group of fan base that
I want to say something too here. When I was at the Georgia game, covering the Georgia game, and something I noticed, and something that Kentucky should change in the future here at Rupp Arena. I noticed, so the student section is always on one end, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the opposing team is facing, when they go to the free throw line, the opposing team is facing the student section with all the noise and the wavy things and all the stuff, the faces and all the stuff they do. They face that to shoot in the first half. And in the second half, when the game was on the line, they step up to the free throw line, and behind the goal is a bunch of deadbeats just sitting there.
Yeah, it's
like
there's a couple, to me, there's a couple things that need to be rearranged with Rupp. I think there needs to be some movement of younger.
Why are they shooting when the game's on the line? Why are they shooting free throws with a bunch of deadbeats just sitting there and all the crazies are on the other end? That makes no
Yeah,
sense.
the game day atmosphere for some games, to me, and I'm not criticizing at all. I'm just saying it needs to be a little bit better.
Well, that certainly doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. But let's get back to the game. Brad, I'm gonna go with the Cats. They didn't play great against South Carolina. It was a root canal game, say the least.
A root canal game. That's good. That's a good description of it. Yeah.
It was a tough game. Let's be honest, and I think a lot of that had to do with South Carolina.
Kentucky Auburn girls game was a root canal game last night too.
I mean, it is what it is. I actually think Kentucky wins this game tomorrow. Now, I could be wrong. I could be coming out of the press box, frustrated just as much as anybody else. But I do think that this needs to be a win. I think actually the next two needs to be a win. You beat Vandy, you beat A&M. If you lose to Florida, so what?
Yep.
Florida's playing as good as anybody right now. They're top 5. You go into the SEC tournament. You've won 2. And you got an opportunity to kind of add your seeding, which a lot of times in the tournament, it don't really matter what your seeding is, as everybody's been told.
I think if they win 2, they'll actually right now, the way it looks, they'll lock up a 5 seed if they can win 2 of the 3.
Win these 2 games, and I think the A&M game's winnable Tuesday night. I do. I think it's a winnable game, but you just don't know which team you're going to get. But I'm going to go Cats here, Brad. I like the 1.5. I think, they're giving it to them because they're at home. Now, if this was on the road, I think it would be more Vandy 3-4 points. And here's where I want to say this. If I'm Kentucky players, that last game that we played in Nashville wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and here's the thing for me, John. I don't see Owe having such a bad game again. He's usually pretty consistent. He's had 20-point games in like 11 or something, SEC games. He's pretty consistent. I don't see that happening. You definitely have to have some big play down low. You can't get out rebounded in this game. The one thing that does worry me is Vandy likes to kick the ball out and run, and we're not great at getting the hell back and playing defense.
That's the one concern, especially with Tyler Tanner.
Yep.
He likes to drive at the rim.
Yeah,
you got to have somebody that can play some defense. Our defense was atrocious against Vanderbilt last time.
Yeah, you got to get the hell back and play some defense.
You got to
and stop the ball.
You do. I agree.
In this game. And then the same thing that's been plaguing this team every game, seems like all year long. You just simply can't shoot 30-35% in this game.
And you can't get out to, like the Georgia game.
The slow starts and all that and give them, a 15-point run or whatever. Lead.
You just can't do it and expect to win.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this
beyond that, like seriously, you cannot shoot the ball 30, 35, 36% and consistently win in the SEC. This is a dire, important game at Rupp. This is a game you have to win.
And I know people think, well, maybe the Florida game's big, but right now they're all big. And tomorrow, you got, like I said, you got the white out, the blue out. You got a Saturday. It's supposed to be pretty. It's supposed to be in the 60s.
Yeah, around 60.
Going to be a big crowd there. Going to be a lot of juice. Like, take advantage of where you're at.
Game. It's 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and you got one of my favorite announcers calling it, Dane Bradshaw and Tom Hart. Tom Hart, if you're watching this, I love you, my man. You're one of the best play-by-play guys out there. You hold a special place in my heart. Pun intended. He's one of the best. I've said it. He's good. He's the best in football, and he's one of the best in basketball. And I think he and Dane Bradshaw do a really good job.
All right, I'm going Cats, even though I'm not real confident, but I'm definitely going Cats. It's at home. It's at Rupp. It's a game you got to have. You've already lost 3. This is a game you've got to figure out a way to win. So, all right, with that said, we're going to switch it up and go to the women's side of things. I've got some women's games here to go through. The first one is a big one in the Big Ten. This is the last weekend in women's regular season. Their conference tournaments start on Monday for some of these smaller conferences and stuff. So this is the last regular season Sunday in 25-26 season here. We're wrapping things up and we're settling like conference rankings and stuff and where their seedings are going to be in tournaments. So Maryland is at Michigan, 14 versus number 8.
This is a tough game for Maryland. Their consistency at times have been kind of off and on. I know they had a 6-game win streak. They dropped 4. They blew out Purdue. They beat Northwestern. They show a lot of upside, Brad, but I feel like this test is going to find out where they are. Listen, the guards in Michigan are really good. Schwartz, they can score in a hurry. Give me the Wolverines in this game. I just think they're just going to be too much for the Terrapins.
Man, Brenda Freese is a hell of a coach. They have had so much adversity this year. They had 4 injuries to start out the year. They lost a couple of them, I believe, the full season here. Yep. But they have really fought to stay at the top here. And because Michigan is really good. I mean, Swords is excellent. And this is at home. I'm going to give this to Michigan here to finish this off, but you got to give major props to the job that Freeze has done to hold this team together and still be 20-plus wins here with this Maryland team. You got to give some major props.
Yeah, she's a good coach.
So the next one, we're going to the SEC. Number 4, Texas is at number 24, Alabama. This is a big one in the SEC standings. This is a big one for Kentucky in the SEC standings because Alabama beat them. And if they could somehow pull an upset here and get to 8-8 and Kentucky doesn't win versus South Carolina,
the one thing I love about this Texas team is they're very consistent. Now, they've lost a few games.
Did you see their start last night?
Yeah, it was –
against Georgia?
Yeah, it was impressive. Madison Booker is having a fantastic year. Rory Harmon. And then you got
they were like 32-11 before a cat could lick its hind end.
Well, and then you got the Alabama team that Timmons. If she's going, Alabama can be really good. To me, this is kind of like a revenge game. But you're also going on the road and playing at a really tough place to play, Coleman Coliseum. But Brad,
Alabama's got a great coach.
Even though Texas has dropped a few, this Texas team is just to watch them.
They're legit.
It's impressive. Yeah,
they're legit. I'm not going to pick against Vic here and the Longhorns. Like they're just too good.
Yeah, Roy Harmon, Madison Booker. They just throw girls at you, and listen, Schaefer. Losses don't sit well with him. You've known him, and every time that they've hit a wall, they've made a major jump back, and that's just a tale of a team that is destined to do some big things. And I actually think this Texas team goes to the Final Four. I think they're that good.
Well, they made it last year to the Final Four, and they have most of their players back.
Give me the Longhorns on the road.
I think that's where I'm going to. Number 12, Duke is at number 21, North Carolina. This is a big rivalry game here in the ACC. I think Duke is leading the ACC here and probably going to wrap up the number one seed, or maybe already have. I haven't looked at the full schedule.
Their length and athleticism is really good. Now, they lost to Clemson in a close game.
But it's their they were 14-0 or something like that when they lost in the ACC.
If they can clinch the ACC title against North Carolina, that's going to say a lot how this Duke team started the year.
Yeah, they were 3-6, 3-6,
and North Carolina, to me, that's another team inconsistent. They got really good talent and they have a high ceiling, but at times they just so inconsistent.
One of the top signees in the country is going to be at this game. Kate Harpering, who is a number 1 or number 2 player in the 2026 class, is going to be at this game for North Carolina. She is a North Carolina signee and is going to be playing there next year. I just want to throw that in here.
I think I'm going to throw North Carolina at this game. I think North Carolina wins this. I think they kind of get revenge on Duke.
I mean, I know they're going to be trying for it, but this Duke team has been playing exceptionally well the last 20 ball games.
If Carol Lawson can win the ACC after the start that they had, props to you, Duke.
I'm gonna take Duke, I believe, on the road in this one, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, North Carolina has got a really good team, and like I said, Kate Harping's going to be in the crowd. She's going to be playing there next year, and she's going to be a good one. So you can keep your eye out on that one. All right, John. Ohio State is at Michigan State. This is 13 versus 15 in the rankings this week. Another big game in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I like this Ohio State team. Now, they've lost 3 of their last 4. Now, they did beat USC. They're not in a good spot playing Michigan State. Now, they're kind of in a, what are we going to do in March? You know what I mean? Like, they was in the national picture early, Brad. And then they kind of fell off. And then Michigan State's kind of had a run. You know, since getting blown out by Michigan, they've took it out on some people. Which they're going to have to do that Sunday against Ohio State. If they can stay consistent, I like this Michigan State. I even think this Michigan State team can get to the Sweet 16, possibly the Elite 8 with a good draw.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think they're a good team.
I think I'm going to stay with Sparty in this one.
Yeah,
the Ohio State Buckeyes here, the ladies' side of it, they're young.
Yeah,
they're pretty young, and I believe they're still a year away or so to.
Yeah, they're not far off. No.
Yeah. So I'm going to take Sparty in this one. John, this is a big one in the SEC as well. Number 5, Vanderbilt is at Tennessee. There's 2 sides to this, man. The way Michaela Blakes has been playing is absolutely insane. And then you've got Tennessee and the way they've been playing. This is in Knoxville. This is the Lady Vols, and this is their rival. I mean, Vanderbilt don't come in there and beat them, but I'm going to tell you right now, Michaela Blakes is the real damn deal. I've seen her in person.
She's legit, Brad. She can go off for 40 a night.
She's the real damn deal.
And if you're going to stop this team, you better stop her, but you also better stop Aubrey Galvin.
Yeah. Another freshman and sophomore, by the way.
They're a scoring machine. Now, they've had 3 losses. You know, they had the setback to Georgia. They've won 5 games over ranked teams, which include, I think, was it LSU and Texas and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then you got Tennessee here. And I'm going to tell you something, you know, I know everybody's kind of off the Kim Caldwell bandwagon around. Andrea Carter made a comment. Was it last week about the standard at Tennessee? And Kim Caldwell kind of she said, a player of that nature playing at Tennessee has a right to voice her opinion. And right now, Tennessee,
it's not there, man.
It's not. And, it's getting louder and louder and louder. Now, they got some good players, Brad. They got Talia Cooper that's really good. She got a good freshman guard. But you cannot continue to get blowed out against good teams and expect Vol Nation to
John, they've lost 5 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 8, I believe. They've lost 8 of their last 10. It's just not been the finish that Tennessee is accustomed to at all.
Not at all.
Like they're 16 and 11, I think, right now.
Yeah.
They've lost 5 in a row. I think 7 of their last 8 and 8 of their last 10.
Yeah. Give me Vanderbilt. Even on the road. I
think Michaela Blakes is going to look, John. I think she's got 5 games in a row plus 30. I'm pretty sure.
It's crazy. She's only a sophomore.
She is now in SEC play. She is now averaging 30 points a game in SEC play. 30, y'all, not 20, 30. She's averaging 30 points a game in SEC play. Boy. And this is women's SEC basketball. This is the legit conference in the country.
But you know what hurts other teams when that happens is that when Aubrey Galvin does her thing, this team's unstoppable to stop.
Oh, Galvin she is so tough and crafty. And then she's got some skill to go with that. Yep. And I'm telling you, I'm going the Commodores here. Vandy's going to take this one on the road. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm almost positive of it, to be honest with you. All right, this is a big one. This is ACC. This is a big one. Earlier in the year, I was saying Notre Dame might be left out. They have went on a little bit of a run here. They've been playing better as of late. Notre Dame has. They're going to Louisville. Louisville is the number 10 team in the country right now. This is not going to be an easy task for Coach Ivey at Notre Dame here. John, do you give the Fighting Irish any chance against Jeff Walsh and the Lady Cards?
It's going to be tough. Louisville has a lot of experience on this team. I know they lost to Virginia on Sunday, which was very shocking to me. They rarely beat themselves, Brad. And I feel like this is a good spot for Louisville, Now, they did beat, I think, Georgia Tech the other night. I think they beat them by 19, I believe. And I do think Louisville wins this game, especially at home to an unranked Notre Dame team. Notre Dame has been playing better, but
they have.
I got to think, where is Notre Dame in all this? Notre Dame used to be top 5 of UConn. And
Notre Dame still has Hannah Hidalgo.
They do. She's really good. She's a special player. I just think Notre Dame has kind of hit a cliff.
They weren't playing well, but they have kind of turned it around the last 5 or 6 ball games.
I'm going to go Louisville here, Brad. I like Louisville in this spot. I like the season finale, senior day. I think Louisville takes care of business here.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going to go too, but it wouldn't shock me that the Fighting Irish come in there and pull off an upset.
No, I wouldn't, especially when you got Hannah Hidalgo.
Yep, it wouldn't shock me. All right, 18 Baylor. Number 18 Baylor is at number 11 TCU. This is a big one in the Big 12. TCU, I think, is leading the Big 12. They may have look, I haven't looked at. They may have it locked up. I'm not sure. But
Olivia Miles has been very big for them.
yep,
They beat Iowa State. She had her 5th triple double, Brad.
yep, she's great.
You keep this girl on Notre Dame's team, it's probably a different story. I'll look at Marta Suarez. She's really good too. They're right close to a Big 12 championship. This team is legit, Brad. And then you got Baylor. I like this Baylor team. Baylor's got a lot of physicality, and they try to control tempo, but that's going to be hard to do against a team like TCU that likes to get out and go.
Yep.
And especially on the road here, I don't like Baylor in this spot, to be honest. Especially Olivia Miles playing the way she's playing, Suarez. I think I'm going to go the Horned Frogs here. TCU is looking at a top seed and possibly a host. Well, they're probably going to be a host.
Yeah, they'll probably host them, but they could be it. I mean, could they find a way to slide into a 2 seed? Maybe. I mean, I'm going to take TCU in this and the Horned Frogs as well at home. Yep. I think they're going to finish off the regular season with a win on senior night here. And I want to give a shout out to Maddie Shear. She will be recognized as a senior on this team. She played at Kentucky for a couple of years. She played at Oregon as well. But Maddie Shear is on this team, and she is a Kentucky native here in the Bluegrass State. And before we move on, just thank you, Maddie Shear. You're always loved here in Kentucky. So just want to say that. Number 2, UCLA is at USC. And this is a huge rivalry out west on the ladies' side of things. And UCLA, of course, is the number 2 team in the country and just has a slew of talent, to be honest with you.
Athleticism, rebounding.
But USC is always a tough matchup for them at home.
Man, the close games is what gets me if UCLA. They just know how to win.
Yeah.
And to me, that is big for the tournament. They're the top dog here. Lauren Betts is special. She's special, Brad.
Yeah.
Spacing, efficient, very good in the half court. Their whole roster, to me, is versatile. They can change defensive lineups.
All the stars will be out for this game.
Right, like this UCLA team's tough, man. I know it's on the road. I know it's USC. USC's had a really down year. They lost Juju Watkins for the year, which had to be tough news. Yep. I just think UCLA is just too much here.
I mean, if you get a healthy Juju back next year, I think this game will be a different story.
Maybe changes things, yeah.
Yeah, but this UCLA team has a legit shot to win a title, to be honest.
They do.
So not just Final Four, they have a legit shot at winning a title, more than likely. I'm going to take the Bruins here, even though this is at home and in a hostile environment. I think I'm going to take the Bruins. All right, John, we're going to end the show talking about the Kentucky Wildcats here and the ladies. But unfortunately, on senior night, they're playing Dawn Staley in South Carolina. Number 3 South Carolina takes on number 16 Kentucky. But John, I want to mention one thing. The one thing that gives me a smidget of hope, and I just mean a little smidget of hope, is that they wrapped up the SEC last night and they all had a celebration and they don't even have to worry about this game. Maybe Dawn Staley will bring her B team.
Yeah, that's That's the hope. You know, they're really good physically, Brad.
I'm
They're
joking.
good.
I'm joking.
Oh, I know. They're good at rebounding. The thing that worries me about this game is South Carolina is really good at generating second chance points. And you don't want to do that against a good team. And
I think
Kentucky,
they should have some load management going on here Sunday.
and I think Kentucky's notorious for turning the ball over. And you don't want to do that against a good South Carolina team. Joyce Edwards.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Tony Morgan,
not at
if
all.
you play like you did last night, I'm going to be at this game. I might just walk out on the floor.
You know, the Auburn game last night, you know, they was up and down a little bit. They're going to have all hands on deck to win this game.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
everybody. Like
Listen,
one girl can't be off.
Boone and Hassett are both going to have to be shooting well, not one or the other. They're both going to have to be shooting well. Tony Morgan, for real, like, I don't put your glasses on. Wear your contacts. I'm not sure what the deal was last night. Listen, I love you, but last night you were throwing the ball to left field, man. Like, you know how when the catcher, trying to get it to second base and he throws it in left field? That's what you were doing last night.
I'm going to tell you, Brad,
I don't understand.
I really like Medina Okot. She's really good. She's found her 3-point shot too, and that's another area of the game where if that starts happening,
yeah,
you got Joyce Edwards going. You know, it's tough.
Tessa Johnson, Raven Johnson. I mean, the list goes on and on, man. I mean, they're so talented, so good.
I'll say this, Brad. Claire Strack's going to have her A game. She can't have a B game.
Claire and Tayani are going to have to both play really stout in the inside. And Amelia and Asia are going to have to be hitting from outside. KK is going to have to come in and hit a couple off the bench, probably. Like, it's going to have to be all hands on deck for Kentucky.
Here's where I'm at with this is, Clara Strack has sometimes had her C game. And when she's had her C game, they've not played well. And they got down and got beat. And another thing that, to me is big is Asia Boone hitting threes. And if Asia Boone's hitting shots, I think they got a chance.
Last night, Hassett was 5 of 8, but Boone was like 0 of 7 or something. I mean,
and listen, Brad, and I'm going to say what you said early, I think 2 weeks ago. These girls are close. Like, they had Texas, what? They was down 2 at Texas.
It was a 1-point game with 5.5 minutes to go.
They had Vandy beat in Lexington.
They played them twice, a 1-point game and a 2-point game.
Like, can you finish the deal? That's
the
thing.
Yeah.
And it's a big weekend. You got the men's tomorrow. You got the women. Both are doing the white and blue.
Yeah.
Like,
it's senior night. It's senior night for the girls. And there's 5 big seniors. I want to end it with talking about them. I mean, Tony Morgan, listen, I talked about you, but I mean, honestly, I love you. I love all these girls. Amelia Hassett has been super, super special. Tiani Key has been super, super special for the last 2 years. And then who am I missing? Oh, Jordan Obi. Jordan Obi transferred in from Penn State. Set out last year with injury. She's been a key cog on this team this year, and you got to give her a shout out. Right. And then I want to give a special shout out to Josie Gilvin. I mean, Josie gave up a spot averaging 13, 14 points a game at WKU because she's a Kentucky girl, and she always had the dream of putting on the blue. Yeah. And she's came here. She's given up playing time for senior year. And for me personally, I just want to say I appreciate that, Josie Gilvin, and I appreciate everything that you have done and given up to wear that jersey and to be there. I do hope tomorrow night that you get to see the floor a little bit, or not tomorrow, Sunday, that you get to see the floor on your senior day and against South Carolina. What a game! What a game to go out on, if that's your last home game.
You said Penn State. Didn't OB transfer from Temple?
Not Penn State. It was Penn University.
Penn, that's right. It was Penn.
It was Penn, not Penn State.
Yeah, and it's a big weekend for UK athletics. I'll be at the Vanderbilt game tomorrow. Brad will be at the South Carolina game. Brad will be at the SEC tournament this week. There's just a lot happening. State tournament.
Listen, I'm not a stupid guy. I'm not picking the Cats here in this game, to be quite honest with you. The only way is if Don Staley is really going to come here and do a load management or something with this team, since they've got it wrapped up.
The thing about it is I say that, and I don't like picking against the Cats, but this is a tough task.
Yeah, it is, man.
Very tough.
Listen, I love the girls. Y'all know that. And do I think? Listen, we went to South Carolina last year, and it was a 2-point game with like 4 minutes to go. So can the girls play with this team? They can. They can. But I don't know if y'all watched the Missouri game last night. South Carolina played Missouri last night. And Missouri, had a decent little run after South Carolina went way up, okay? And Missouri had a decent little run and cut the game to 20, all right? They cut it to 20. It was 78-58. It was in the third quarter. It was 78-58. There's a little bit of time left in the third quarter. Don Staley calls a timeout and just chews some butt. I mean, just chews some butt, all right? They come back out of the timeout, and they went on a 24-2 run. And before you can, go to the bathroom and get a drink and come back in here, it's a 40-point game. I was just like, good God.
Yep.
That's how quick and how good they are if you let your guard down, even for 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the game.
They got a different motor, for sure.
Yeah. Just wanted to tell that real quick. All right, guys, this has been our Game Day Pick'em show. We're wrapping up the regular season. We're super excited to be a part of things here at College SportsCast. Like John has said, I will be at the South Carolina game. I will be in Greenville, South Carolina next week covering the SEC women's basketball tournament. A third year of doing that, by the way. And just super excited. So thankful to be a part of such a great tournament and event with such great players and coaches, and just being a part of something really, really special. John will be in Lexington on tomorrow against Vandy, and then for Senior Day next week versus Florida. So we got a lot going on here. We will be doing a show on Monday night. We'll do our Wildcat Weekly show on Monday night. We will not do our regular Game Day Pick'em show next Friday night. We will not do a show next Friday night. I want to put that out there. I will be doing some live updates, probably nightly, from the SEC women's basketball tournament. So you can look forward to that next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Brad's just looking forward to the food that they put out there.
They do have some pretty good food there. They do.
They do.
Listen, I
I
love being
remember
around the
last
girls.
year.
I remember 2 years ago, I got to ride in the elevator with Camila Cardosa. And I don't know if you know, but Camila Cardosa is 6'8". Okay. And I was there at the stadium and I go into the elevator and there stands Camila Cardosa.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, I'm 6'3", and like most women, I don't, I was like, she's 6'8", and like pretty good size. Like,
You know what's
she's a
crazy? You know
Brazilian.
what's crazy is I was telling somebody this yesterday. Speaking of size, I was at the UK Loyola. Was it the Loyola? Yeah, it was the Loyola game early in the year, and I had went down pregame to Rep Arena to the floor, and usually the first couple guys that come out are Malachi Marino and Braden Hawthorne.
Yeah.
And
People don't realize Braden Hawthorne's like 6'8" or 6'9".
When you look at Braden Hawthorne and look at Malachi makes me look like a midget.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself when I'm sitting there, when I'm going by and I'm taking pics and whatnot, I'm thinking, how would you be able to guard him at my size?
But I'll never forget. I mean, you don't see a woman like that big very often. Like, it's just not like, it's not a normal thing, you know?
Yeah,
like,
even Mark Pope's tall. It's like
yeah.
you see Mark Pope and you're like, oh my goodness, man, these guys are huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I was standing next to Malachi a week ago. So
yeah, I'm thinking, okay, how would you be able to play defense against Malachi in the paint at my size? Like, you got to be.
It's called fouling.
Yes, you'd have to play a zone.
It's called fouling.
Yeah, basically.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. I just wanted to give you kind of an update of what's going on and give you a show. We'll do our Wildcat Weekly show on Monday night this week. And then we will do some live updates from the SEC Women's Tournament. John is more than welcome to come on and do a live update, a senior night or whatever he wants to do as well. So look for some of that next week. And we appreciate you guys and appreciate the growth. Appreciate y'all sharing all the likes, comments on our Facebook page. It's really growing. So just want to say a huge thanks to each and every one of you.
Yeah, because 8 a.m. comes early and I got to get to bed.
All right, man. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We'll see you next week. Y'all have a good weekend and watch some good basketball.
Yeah, watch some. Have a good one.